Our application has now this home page to display a list of properties in two different categories, and also we have implemented navigation to load different components using Angular routing. Now it is time to provide an interface to our user to log in into the application and add their properties requirements. Angular provides forms to handle user inputs, and there are two different kinds of forms available in Angular. One is template driven form and another one is reactive form. In template driven forms, most of the logic is implemented in our HTML template, where in reactive forms, the logic resides mainly in component or TypeScript code. It is not that anything that can be implemented in reactive forms cannot be implemented in template driven form or vice versa, but it is always better to choose one of two approaches and use it throughout the application. So we are going to create this add property form using a template driven approach and understand how it works, and then we will add a user registration form using reactive approach so that you should be aware of both kind of approach. So let's start with this add property component and add a form in HTML template, deleting this code as it is no longer needed now. Let's add a few divs to give our form a good look. Add a class card. This is a bootstrap class to give your div a card type look, and define a card header and give it a caption, add new property. And next is the card body in which we will add our form. Add form. In traditional applications, we were to define an action which was executed at server end to fetch the info from a form. But in Angular application, we do not need this attribute. Angular provides some directive to convert the form data and state into JavaScript object that we can use to validate the form data that can be submitted to an API. We will look all these things practically shortly in this video. Add another div and give it a class form group to group the multiple controls. Add label for name and add input of type text and give it a class form control to give it a decent look. Let's check how it is going. It's looking okay. Let's copy this two more times and change it to capture type and change it to capture price. Perfect. 3 fields are added on this form. Let's add save and cancel button as well at the bottom of this form, and give this button a type submit and add class btn primary. Give it a caption save. Copy this and paste it here and change the type to reset and give it a caption cancel. We need to add some space between both. We can do that just by adding a bootstrap class mr-2 to add the right margin between these buttons. Now it's looking little better. So this is just a plain HTML form. We have done nothing in this form specific to Angular that will convert this form into JavaScript representation. And when we are clicking this button, it is just submitting our form to the server. But that is not the expected behavior of an Angular form. So in order to submit a form and then get the data of this form in our code behind file, we first have to import forms module in app.module. So import it from @angular/forms and add it here in import array. Now after adding this form module, we don't have to do anything to the form tag in order to make use of form modules. Angular application automatically detects the form element and start to emit few events. One of such event is ng-submit event that is fired when we submit a form. Here at form level, we can use event binding for this event, and on firing of this event, we can call a method in our component. Let's add this method in our .ts file. And for now, just log a message. It's giving error. Yup, seems the spelling is wrong. It should be forms module, not form module. Let's test it. Perfect. We are getting congrats message here in console. So ng submit event is getting fired and on submit function is getting called in our application. Next, we can declare a template variable using hash form. You can give whatever name you would like for this variable name, and we can assign a value to this variable. Here we can assign ng form to this variable. So what is ng form? Ng form is a directive that is provided by forms module, and it provides a JavaScript representation of our form, and we can pass this variable here as a parameter in our on submit form. Let's add this parameter in our function as well. As we are passing ng form from our HTML, let's define this as a ng form and just display it in console to see how it looks. If now we will click this save button, see this ng form, a JavaScript object starts to appear here in our console. You can see it contains a lot of elements, and these different elements represents the data and state of the form. We will come to the state of form later in this video. Next, we are interested in this element, value element, that should contain the data of our form in each field. But just like the form tag, it doesn't happen automatically in Angular. We have to add an ng model directive on each element we would like to get data in our ng form object. And also we have to add name as well. This is just an HTML attribute, and Angular use this attribute to display it as a key. If now we will submit our form, you can see in the value object we started to get data for prop name field we just had defined. Let's add some text in this field and submit the form. And perfect, we are getting this value here in key value pair in this value object. So add ng model for other fields as well. Let's keep the field name the same as we have defined in our data.json file to map it easily in our component. Add it for price as well. Let's fill some data and check if it comes through our value object. Perfect. We have set up our form to get the value of all three fields now in JavaScript object. Next, we'll look at these other elements of this JavaScript object. So what is the valid element? This is the state of our form. Means our form is valid, and that is because we have not yet added any attributes to validate any field in our form. Angular provides few inbuilt validators, and few of those validators are just plain HTML attribute. For example, we can put required attribute in our HTML element to make it a mandatory field. This is not Angular specific. This is just an attribute that is allowed by HTML to make any field mandatory. Angular use it as a validator. If now we will submit this form without providing a value in this name field, see this valid element is set to false. If we enter some value in these two fields, the state of our form is still invalid. And as soon as we enter some value in this name field and now we submit our form, this valid state is now set to true. There are a lot of other such elements available in this object, and on the base of those we can implement robust validation in our form. We'll look at few of those in this video. Let me show you how we can use this form level valid state to disable this save button if the form is not valid. We can use this template variable here to conditionally disable this button using property binding. Every button has a property called disabled, And as we have done property binding previously as well, so you should be aware that by putting any property in square bracket, we can bind it with any TypeScript code. We will use valid state of the form as condition here. And as we need to disable this button when form is not valid, let's add not operator before this condition. You can see our save button is disabled in start because this name is required field, and as soon as we start to type in this text box, this button get enabled. So this is just an example of how we can use these form level elements to change the workflow of our application. There are plenty of other elements available in this object. For example, this true value in this dirty elements means form has been modified, and these states are not only available at form level, these are available for each field as well. You can see every field has plenty of state elements we can use to control the flow of our application. In addition to this useful JavaScript object, Angular also adds some classes automatically on the base of different states of control. For example, you can see this ngValid and ngTouched classes are added. We have not added these classes, and the beauty of Angular is that these classes are added and removed at runtime. For example, as this name field is required, and see this ngValid class is added here because there is some value in this field. But as soon as we delete this text, ngValid is removed and a new class ngInvalid is added. We can use these classes to change the appearance of our control in different states of control. For example, let's change the border color having ngInvalid class. So by default it is showing a red border, as by default there is no value in this text box. We want to add this red border only in case someone have touched this control. There is one more CSS named ngTouched, so we can add ngTouched as well here, which means this CSS will add a red border only in case when both of these classes are there on an element. Let's check it. So by default it is not showing a red border in this text box, but as soon as we move the pointer into this and then we move out of this control, the border of this text box turns to red. Next we will see how to display proper error message to the user if any validation failed on any control. Let's add a span just below the name text box and add a text, please provide name. Add a class error block to this span and add this class in our CSS file to give text a red color. We would like to display this message only in case when the user passed through this name text box without entering any value. So to do that, we need to know the state of this control, if this is valid or invalid. And to get the JavaScript object reference related to this field, we can declare a template variable like this, hash crop name, and pass the ng model as the reference in this variable. Now we have access to the state specific to the input field in this template variable. And we can use this variable here in ng if statement to conditionally display this span if state is not valid for this control. And it should also be touched as well. Let's check it. Perfect, we are getting this error if the user bypass this control without entering any value. And as soon as we start to type in this input box, this error will disappear. Next we will see one more way to get the access of this template variable directly in our code behind file without passing this as variable here. So using @viewChild, make sure this is imported here from @angular/core and pass the name of our template variable name that we have defined in our HTML file, and we can give it a name. Let's name it add property. and type of this is ngForm, as we are passing ngForm in this template variable. Let's take it in single quotes. And now here in onSubmit method, we can replace this form with add property form. We can remove this parameter now from here. So we are still getting this ngForm in console without any problem. So this is the way you can get the reference of form even before passing it to the submit method. There are some scenarios where we want this form to be accessed before submission of form. We will look at those scenarios further in this tutorial when we progress through the course. Next, we will look at how to handle multiple errors on a field and display a message conditionally on the basis of specific errors. For example, suppose we want this field should not be less than 5 characters in addition to the required field. Angular provides a few handful of inbuilt validator. I have provided a link to this page below in description. Let's use this min length validator to validate our control for minimum length. Moving it to the next line to make it more readable. And let's use min length equals 5. Now if we enter some value that is less than 5 character, you can see this error message is appearing and also the save button is disabled. That means our min length validation is working fine. But now we need to display different messages conditionally on the basis of error. Let's open console window to see what error appearing on this control. But as we are not enabling this save button until our form is valid, we are not able to watch this error. So let's remove this code from here to keep it enabled. And now we can submit a form even if it is in invalid state. And let's dig more into this ngForm object. Go to controls and expand this name element. And you can see we are getting this min length error under error node. Let's try to submit this form with a blank value in name field. And you can see different error now in this errors node. We can use these errors to display different error messages conditionally now. Let me show you how to do that. Let's add one more span here and put this error in this span. Copy it and add one more error message. Name must be at least 5 character long and put ngIf and display it only in case if prop name dot errors dot required is true. And display this error if min length contains some value. Let's check it. Perfect, we are getting correct error message. And if it contains 5 or more character, the error is gone. And if I make it blank, it starts to display different error. So this is how we can set up a template driven form and handle errors using inbuilt validator. Next we will create another form using reactive approach. See you in next video. Stay tuned.